Our show is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phone, Kindle Fire, and other devices with Stitcher. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your App Store or on Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Pray with me if you will. Come, Holy Spirit, come. Come with the fire and burn. Come with the rain and cleanse. Come with the wind and breathe. Come with the light and reveal. Convict us, convert us, consecrate us. Claim and call us with your care and concern, O God, until we do something. Amen.
This is all attached to Luke's fine birth narrative. Luke has the most complete story of the births of John, who would become the baptizer, and Jesus. In this passage, Mary goes to the quote-unquote Judean high country to visit Elizabeth and Zechariah, verses 39 through 46, followed by the Magnificat, out of the Latin phrase, my soul magnifies the Lord, which is related directly to Hannah's prayer in 1 Samuel chapter 2, verses 1 through 10. Scholars tell us that these elements are known as proof texting, used to shine light on faith. As Mary enters the house of Zechariah and Elizabeth, the child Elizabeth is carrying, John, jumps inside her. As modern people now, we know this happens. It's natural, it's biologic, it's inspiring. But in terms of faith and recording these events, it's theology. Social scientists talk to us about joy and happiness. They spend their existence studying such things. Those of us with backgrounds in sociology understand it, and it adds to the employment roles, after all, now, doesn't it? Things like hope and happiness, and especially joy, are important. A recent New England Journal of Study of Medicine, they followed nearly 20,000 women over almost 2 decades to seek to know that if being happy helped them to live longer. What they found was happiness means different things to different people. Happen to be women here. Part of the question this text invites is, what is joy? Is it a cause, or is it an effect, a true emotion, or an ancillary thought? Do we even think about these things? What brings joy? What is possible? I'm going to open with an illustration. I've shared this before. My sister Kimberly sent this to me. It looks like about a decade ago. And it's the 10 Commandments for a festive season. I don't do it every year, but I think this is the second year in a row. And some of us need this, at least I think so. The 10 Commandments for a festive season, and it's not attributed. Somebody may know, but I don't know who wrote it. Number 1, the first commandment is avoid carrot sticks. Anyone who puts carrots on a holiday buffet table knows nothing about the Christmas spirit. In fact, if you see carrots, leave immediately. Go next door where they have rum balls. Second commandment, drink as much eggnog as you can, and quickly. Like a fine single malt scotch, it's rare. In fact, it's even rarer than single malt scotch. You think I'd know how to pronounce that, but I can't. You can't find it any other time of the year but now. So drink up. Who cares that it has 10,000 calories in a single sip? It's not as if you're going to turn into an eggnog-aholic or something. It's a treat. Enjoy it. Have one for me. Have two. It's later than you think. It's Christmas. The third commandment. If something comes with gravy, use it. That's the whole point of gravy. Gravy does not stand alone. Pour it on. Make a volcano out of your mashed potatoes. Fill it with gravy. Eat the volcano. Repeat. Fourth commandment. As for mashed potatoes, always ask if they're made with skim milk or whole milk. If it's skim, pass. Why bother? With an automatic transmission, who needs it? Fifth commandment. Do you have a snack before going to a party in an effort to control your eating? The whole point of going to a Christmas party is to eat other people's food for free. Lots of it. Hello? Sixth commandment. Under no circumstances should you exercise between now and New Year. This bothers me because I do exercise. Under no circumstances should you exercise between now and New Year's. You can do that in January when you have nothing else to do. This is the time for long naps which you'll need after circling the buffet table while carrying a 10-pound plate of food and that vat of eggnog. The seventh commandment. If you come across something really good at a buffet table, like frosted Christmas cookies in the shape and size of Santa, position yourself near them and don't budge. Have as many as you can before becoming the center of attention. They're like a beautiful pair of shoes. If you leave them behind, you're never going to see them again. The eighth commandment, same for pies, apple, pumpkin, and pecan. Have a slice of each. Or if you don't like pecan, have 2 apples and a pumpkin. Always have 3. When else do you get to have more than one dessert? Labor Day? The ninth commandment. Did someone mention fruitcake? Granted, it's loaded with the mandatory celebratory calories, but avoid it at all costs. I mean, have some standards. The 10th commandment. One final tip. If you don't feel terrible when you leave the party or get up from the table, you haven't been paying attention. Reread the tips, start over, but hurry. January is just around the corner. Best to all, in this festive season, as we celebrate the new light, and life should not be a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely in an attractive and well-preserved body, but rather a skid sideways, chocolate in one hand, martini in the other, body thoroughly used up and totally worn out, screaming, "Woohoo! What a ride!" I hope you smiled at that. I don't encourage you to live like that, because I'm a recovering chubby middle-aged dude myself. But that brings me joy, makes me smile, makes me laugh. Some of us don't take time to think, to laugh. My favorite illustration comes from my late father. The year I was born, we were living in Michigan, a suburb of Detroit called Dearborn. My father had worked for what would become American Motors, but there had been this little thing known as a recession. He said it felt like the Depression, which he had lived through, but they called it a recession. So he was out of work, and he had 4 children, and I was on the way. So to support his family, he, in the late fall and winter of 1949, the year of my birth, he cut up cars in a wrecking yard because that's the work he could find, and he was paid piecework. And I remember asking him, now I was probably 30, and I said, "Pop, Mom tells this story about how you cut up cars in the freezing winter. What was that like?" And he looked at me and smiled his half-crooked smile, and looked at me through his beautiful blue eyes and said, "Son, I had 4 kids at home and a mortgage. I didn't have much time to think about what I was doing, let alone deep contemplation." So you find joy where it comes to you, where it exists for you. There's a really old Paul Williams song that the lyrics go something like this. When there's no getting over that rainbow, when my small list of dreams won't come true, I can take all the sadness the world has to give, but I won't last a day without you. I know it's a love song, but isn't the season of Advent a love song into itself? Some of Charles Wesley's best hymns come to us out of this season. Some of his most singable hymns, I would say. He wrote something like 800 hymns, and I think we can sing about 10 of them. The refrain from Paul Williams' song goes, touch me and I end up singing. You touch me with the love you're bringing. That's what we ought to be about. It's tough for some in this season, but if we think about the love brought to us in the way and work and wonder of Jesus, how can we not be touched? Some of you know that yesterday was my birthday, and I thank you for the lovely cards and notes and gifts that were given. I spent last evening having dinner with my sons, Aaron and Ian, and Rachel, Aaron's girlfriend, and Perch, a boyhood friend of my son's. Family for me. The only problem is the older I get, when I eat dinner later than 7, I don't like it. It's not just as much fun for me, which says something about my age. But it was a sweet and precious time. It brought joy to me. Yesterday afternoon, my niece, Bridget, the youngest daughter of my sister Kim, sent me a video. And while I was trying to adjust the volume on my phone, it occurred to me what was happening in the video. It was her 3 children, Rowan, Remington, and Hannah, singing me happy birthday. Just touched me. Just so sweet. Now, I know that we're just bombarded with technology, but it was without that technology, she's not going to drive over here from San Pedro and have her kids sing. In the first place, it'd take a half a day to get them ready and probably a major fight in the car. So to have that possible for me was just sweet, sweet. There's a commercial. I can't tell you exactly what they're advertising, but I surmise that it's baby diapers, which, and yeah, you know, I'm probably one of the few people that still watches commercials. But what got me after they talked about why their product was so superior was showing their product on the bodies of the little children who were dancing. And have you ever stopped to watch babies dance? Is it not the most glorious thing on the earth? I mean, you can have a sprained ankle and a sore tooth and be mad at the world. But you see a baby dance, how can you not be joyful? Oh my goodness. Now I know it's commercial, but nobody told those babies to dance like that in that commercial. They just dance. Now I have a little bit of a confession to make. You know, I write my sermons out. I write them on my computer, and I write them in usually 20 point or above, so I can read them without my glasses, if possible. And I've been having a problem with my printer at home, and which is probably more technical than I want to get into, and you need to hear. But so I saved my sermon on and emailed it to myself from my office to my house. And then I continued polishing at home. And when I went to send it back to me here so I could print it in my office, and I thought, well, it's not a big deal. It's done, it's there, it's right, it's ready. And I'll just print it tomorrow morning at my office. Well, my internet is down. Isn't technology grand? And don't you just want to leap for joy at what it can do to you when you need it most? So I couldn't print it. So I'm in with my cross-eyed left hand, scratching what I think I know I wanted to say. And there I am, and my door is ajar just a little bit, and it creeps open. And probably he read my crazy eyes. Jones Shepherd leans in, says, "Hi, Pastor Joey." And I said, "Hi, Jones, how are you?" And then he reaches out and hands me a card. Oh. And this is why I endured 7 years of graduate school, for this. It says, "You make me happy. Happy birthday." Signed, Jones and Luna. That's what ministry is about for me. That's what joy is about. Who cares what I have to say? You're doing lunch in your heads right now. We know this. We know this. Or figuring out where you can get some decent eggnog. This past Wednesday on the Frame, which is a KPCC program hosted by John Horn, and it deals with arts and entertainment. The feature article was about Alice Parker. I didn't know who she was, but I probably do if I'm thinking about it, because she's written something like 600 or 800 pieces of music. And the thing that I took away from it isn't that she's just a prolific writer. A bunch of friends and admirers have come together that said, Alice is turning 90. You heard that, 90. And then I heard her speak, and I said, that person can't be 90. She sounds like 30 or 40. She had so much passion, so much energy. She is still taking commissions for cities and places that want her to write. And then she talked about singing. And she said, you cannot sing the notes on the page. Can you, Jeff? You can't sing that. You have to sing the spirit and intent of the music. And that's why this music this morning, from the anthem to our children, touches us. I tell you, at certain tunes when they're sung, I'm transformed. I'm 4 years old and standing between my parents, and I can hear my father's voice and my mother's slightly off key. And it's just remarkable. Alice Parker reminds us of that. The joy of still doing something that you've done for as many decades as she has must not be lost on us. Find that which brings you joy. And if you can't jump for joy, you can, with your heart, jump into it and do it to the very best of your ability, with a smile on your face. And especially in the next few days, go find a buffet. So be it, and amen. The closing hymn is 2095, Star Child, in The Faith We Sing.
Thank you for listening to the First United Methodist Church podcast, which is recorded live every week at 4832 Tahunga Avenue in North Hollywood, California, and delivered by Dr. Joey McDonald. For more info on us, please check out nohofumc.com or find us on Facebook and Twitter under NoHo FUMC.